Hello, hello, Diana Smith here. It's so nice to see your smiling face. And if I'm not seeing your smiling face again, and this is the first time we're meeting, please subscribe to the channel so that we can visit twice a week. Okay, my story starts right before the big crash of the economy in 2008. So coming into the recession, I had been a real estate broker at that point for about 20 years. I was a single mother. I have a beautiful home, large mortgage. I had a garage full of toys, nice car. I had everything that any other successful person had because prior to that recession, the economy was really good and it was really good to be a real estate broker. In fact, it was so good that I had the idea to start my very own brokerage. So I had this fantastic idea to get a cute little office downtown, and I actually bought a condo. When I got it, it was nothing but a hole. It was like an old building and they'd sectioned off a portion, and I bought this little portion, but it had, no sheetrock on the walls. It had no plumbing, no electric, nothing. It was just a little hole where they had taken a big building and divided it up into condos. So I had the brilliant idea of turning it into looking like a coffee shop, only it was going to be a real estate office so that all my realtors could work from home. But if they needed to negotiate or anything, they could come to my real estate office. Because yes, the real estate market was so good that I thought that was a brilliant idea. One morning, I had looked at the little condo space that was undone. 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I think, oh my gosh, I have figured out how to make this space work. And I grabbed a piece of paper and I doodled everything, the shape of it, and I doodled everything down to the furniture. And I'm a huge believer in the power of the mind, especially when I have a picture. So then I go with this picture to the banks and I'm like, okay, I want to turn this blank space into this office space. What do you guys think? You want to loan me the construction money, the construction loan? They said, Diana, the smartest thing to do is do the remodel out of pocket. Just put it on credit cards and stuff. And then when it's remodeled, you refinance it. That way you're drawing out your equity. It's a way better idea. I'm like, oh, brilliant, brilliant. So I spend $150,000 out of pocket and on credit cards to remodel this office space. And it was perfection, absolute perfection. I will include a picture right here. It was absolutely darling, and it was everything I had drawn, even down to the tall tables and chairs, the leather couch and love seat in the corner, everything that was in my mind, the kitchenette, the bathroom, everything. It was perfect. It was absolute perfection. Well, any of us that can remember the 2008, I call it the 2008 crash. It might have been a little different year that it affected you guys, but for me, 2008 just was like, in my head. And it was a great economy where you could get signature loans. I mean, banks were handing out money right and left. If you had a pulse, you could get a loan. It went from that to nothing at all, like totally flatlined, lending flatlined. So even though I had impeccable credit and everything going into it, and I'd borrowed all this money and I put my neck out and I remodeled this building, in the time they told me to remodel out of pocket, and during the 6 months it took me to do the remodel, when I went back to the banks, they're like, oops, sorry. We're not loaning any money to anybody for any reason. That was my crash. That was my crash. In that 6 months of remodel, I couldn't get any realtors to come on board. Because of the crash, no realtors wanted to move. The real estate market was absolutely flatlining, so I wasn't making squat for money. I'd sunk a ton of money into it. I went from feeling like I had it all. I've got this single motherhood thing figured out. I am making good money. I'm remodeling an office space. I've got a beautiful roof over my daughter's head. I got it all. I went from that to nothing in what feels like, it just feels like a long nightmare. It feels like I went to sleep wonderful and I woke up to hell. It was horrible. When I was told that they weren't going to loan me the money to refinance the office space, their answer to me was file bankruptcy. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just went from having it all to worrying about everything. It was by far the scariest time of my life, the scariest. And where I found peace was walking. Every morning, my dog and I got goosebumps telling the story because this is very real to me. And I think that nowadays it's very real for a lot of people. So that's why I want to get this story out. And I'm going to be as honest as I can so that everybody knows that you're not alone. So the only thing I could do to cope was walk the dog. Every morning I was walking the dog. That German Shepherd, he has passed now, but that German Shepherd and I, we did miles and miles every day. And when stress would hit me in the afternoon, we'd go back out again. And one day I was walking my normal loop and there's a cemetery. And I've never walked in the cemetery before. It's just not my thing. I don't do really good with sadness and there's not a whole lot of chipper shit going on in a cemetery. So I've never walked in it before. But this day, I got to tell you, I had to pee. Believe it or not, I had to pee. And there is a building in the cemetery. And so I thought, oh, I'm just going to go hide behind the building and pee. Yep, that's me. That's the kind of woman I am. So I go around and I pee. Something possessed me to walk around the cemetery that morning. And my dog and I think we read every single tombstone. And what really hit me, as I'm so worried about my future and my daughter's future, and I felt like I'd screwed up and I'm just behind on everything, and I just didn't know what to do or where to go to keep up what I had always done. I didn't know how to keep up all this facade or keep up everything I had. I felt like a lot of my identity was wrapped up in what I had, which I think a lot of people are like that. And all of a sudden it hit me that I had no idea what kind of house any of these people lived in. I had no idea what kind of car they drove. I had no idea how big their bank account was. I had no idea of anything because they were all nothing but a cement headstone. And I felt the biggest rush of relief come over me. And I realized it doesn't matter what I drive. It doesn't matter where I live. It doesn't matter what I have. What matters is who I am. Because who you are is all people are going to remember. How you treat people is all they're going to remember. And it was just such a relief for me to realize I don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I don't care. Because all that matters is that I am kind to people, that I am helpful to people, that I am a good mother, that I am a role model for my daughter. And being a role model for my daughter doesn't mean I have to have the best of everything. It doesn't mean I have to have anything. It means that I have to show my daughter what a good, honest, hardworking, independent, confident, strong woman looks like. That's what I have to show her. I don't have to show her that I can drive a brand new car. I don't have to show her that in order for us to be all that in a bag of chips, we have to have a garage full of toys. So I'll tell you, I got rid of every damn toy in that garage. I went through a bankruptcy and I didn't care who knew. I wasn't apologetic about it. There is no shame whatsoever in surviving and thriving. Because once you're relieved of the pressure of keeping up with everybody else and worrying about what people will find out or what people will think, when you realize that in the end of all of this, everything you're working so hard to hold on to is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. All we end up is being a tombstone. So make sure that you are impacting people, that you are a giving, caring, kind, honest, genuine, transparent person with people. Don't hide things. Don't do things just because of what other people think. Who cares? You don't have to keep up with the Joneses, because the Joneses, they're going to be buried right next to you. And guess what? Their headstone is going to be the same size as yours. So that is something I learned, and I wanted to share that story. And actually, as far as I'm concerned, that gave me wings, because ever since then, I've never worried about what I have or what people think or who knows what. I've never worried about that, because I realize this is it. That's all we are in the end. I hope this message is a help in these uncertain times. And here's another thing to remember. We're always in uncertain times. There is never, ever certainty. Life isn't certainty. It never was. So whether it's a pandemic, whether it's an election, whether it's a job, there's never been certainty. That's not what life is. Life is a journey, and we don't know anything except for what's right in front of our face. That's it. Our future has always been uncertain. So right now people are like, oh my gosh, the uncertainty. There's an election, there's a pandemic, there's job crisis, there's recessions, there's la 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 la. Doesn't matter. Life has always been uncertainties. So you have to find comfort, certainty, and confidence in yourself, in who you are, in what you offer others. That's all that matters. And if you ever wonder if you are enough, or if you're behind the 8 ball because everybody else seems to have their shit together, walk through a cemetery, because none of it matters. You don't know the size of their house. You don't know the size of their bank account. You don't know what they drove. We're all equal. So just be a good person and stop trying to keep up with everybody else, because it's nothing but pressure. There was a time in my life when I would see somebody in a nice house or a nice car, and I always thought, woo, they got it made. Now, when I see somebody in a nice house and a nice car, I think, they got a lot of debt. That's a lot of pressure. Most people in the nice houses and the nice cars, that's a payment. So don't envy people with more shit than you got. They got more pressure than you've got. So lighten up on yourself. Be kind to you and be proud of you. And if you're not proud of you, then work on that. Walk around a cemetery. Take yourself a long walk every day if you need to. But get right with who you are, because that's all that matters. And that is the only certainty that we have in this life. And with that being said, stay safe, stay healthy, stay surrounded by loved ones, and most of all, stay grateful for all of your blessings. And trust me, you have so many more blessings than you could ever even imagine. See you next time.